much for tuning in to our spring benefits stream. Whether you're tuning in from Massachusetts, California, Ecuador, Italy, the Philippines, or from just down the road here in Oregon, we are so grateful that you've taken time out of your day or the middle of the night to join us. My name is Andrea Johnson, and I'm the Executive Director at Green Empowerment, zooming in from our Portland, Oregon headquarters. Thank you so much for your interest in our mission and for being part of our global community. Cheers to you. Today's program will take you from Puno, Peru to Sabah, Malaysia. I hope hearing from our team, partner organizations, and community leaders gives you a sense of who we are, why our work is more important than ever, and how you can join us in building a more equitable world. Before we jump into our program, I want to start with a story. Some of you may know that in 2020, right as the reality of the COVID-19 pandemic was starting to settle in, Green Empowerment was actively expanding our work into Uganda. After 3 years of supporting our programs from my home office, I finally had the opportunity to visit just recently in March. We visited our installed projects, connected with the local team, and met prospective new partners and communities. In one of these communities, we arrived in the afternoon. People were ending their work days, school children were returning to their homes, and everyone was lining up to collect water at the hand pump. This hand pump in many ways was a symbol of progress in the community, and we heard directly from community members about how they were managing the payments and the maintenance of the hand pump, and how they were so grateful for the project. We also heard that it wasn't enough. The borehole is serving 3,000 residents. People were lined up, and the water collection process took hours. Many of the households were a few kilometers away from the borehole, and the community management committee was having to do a lot of conflict resolution in the community. They were hoping to develop a piped water system that would distribute waters to households. This was the moment that I knew that Green Empowerment had real value to offer this community, and specifically the local partner organization that had brought us there. For me, it was an immense validation of our approach to partnership, and also specifically our model of community-owned micro-utilities. Green Empowerment reached 500,000 people in our first 25 years. Together with our partners, we aim to bring renewable energy and clean water to an additional 200,000 people in the next 3 years, double the goal of our prior 3 years. To support this, we are forming new partnerships and also looking at expanding our work with current partners. One specific example of why we want to expand our work with current partners is featured in this first video about our programs in Peru with our partner, Energía, Ambiente y Sostenibilidad, or in English, Energy, Environment, and Sustainability. Last year, a few members of our team were in Peru doing a solar water pumping technical exchange. They were speaking with Rafael, the founder of the partner organization, about the progress that they were making supporting community water systems. During that discussion, Rafael shared that there are about 200 communities in that area that do not have access to water, but that his team was only able to do a handful of projects a year. The discussion really informed some of the work we're doing now to support partners in accelerating the number of projects they complete while honoring what we have seen work. Community engagement throughout the project formulation and implementation, and lots of training with the community management committee and the local technician. We really believe that this approach addresses technical, social, and financial sustainability of these projects. Please join me as we travel to Peru.
In 2021, we completed our first project in the Puno district of Peru, a clean water micro-utility built, owned and operated by the community.
The big impact of the project is that people right now doesn't have to go to take water from, for example, some little lakes that they have in the area. They just have to open the tap inside of the houses and use the water. In Green Empowerment, we're working with Rafael since 2019.
La misión de Energía, Ambiente y Sostenibilidad es desarrollar y aplicar tecnología para mejorar la calidad de vida de los pobladores rurales del Perú.
Abastece a 400 aproximadamente, pero por casa, por familia son 120. No, el tiempo más que todo, el tiempo que teníamos que, digamos, jalar del SOS. Hoy se ha logrado tener agua potable y es muy importante.
Consideramos importante el acceso al agua y a la energía porque son dos derechos universales. Y consideramos que las comunidades rurales, mucha población todavía no tiene derecho a esos dos servicios tan fundamentales para la vida. Y por eso luchamos.
Puno is a region in the south of Peru. Almost 40% of people in rural areas in Puno doesn't have access to water, and not even in good quality water, just water.
The need in Puno is great, and that is just one region of Peru. Peru is one of the 5 countries where we work in Latin America, and we know that there is similar need all around the globe. Given the current rate of development, the United Nations estimates that in 2030, 1.6 billion people will still lack access to safely managed drinking water, and 2.8 billion will still lack safely managed sanitation. So we are charting pathways to scale our work.
Right now, we are working with just a few communities, and it took some months, even a couple of years. So I think it's a long-term work. One idea that we were talking about to implement a pilot project, we work with local technicians to improve their skills, implementing water systems, installing water meters, working with communities, to work with these technicians that we worked before so they can train the new ones. When we talk about the scale, our work, the opportunity is there, the need is there in the country and in other countries too. I think my wish for Peru and maybe for the whole Latin America is that people in rural areas, they can have access to basic services, just in general, basic services.
Aquí de 20 años, quisiera que tener, digamos, todos los servicios básicos, estaremos así viviendo igual que la ciudad.
En esta comunidad también soñamos de riego por aspersión.
Ya tenemos la visión de hacer nuestros bañitos así, ¿no? Bonito ya, como en la ciudad, con la ducha, todo.
Green Empowerment is ready to do more, so that every person in every community all around the world has safe, clean water in their home. Let's not wait another generation.
Wow, that stat in that video, that in 2030, 1.6 billion people will still lack drinking water and even more will still lack access to sanitation. That one hits. I hope it helps you see why we are so committed to growing our work with partners and why we're hoping to replicate the successes that we've had with water and energy projects with more partners. There's just so much more to do. As an organization, we've also been strategically expanding our team to support more partners and communities. To give you an idea, right now we have projects in over 60 communities that are active. Those are across the globe. At the same time, we have another 60 or so projects that are currently under design with partners and with communities. Part of expanding our team has been welcoming new program directors from the regions where they work, as well as a new philanthropy director, Raven Walsh, who's actually with me here today. So it's my pleasure to introduce Raven to talk about our team.
Hi. Thank you so much for joining us today and supporting this critical work. There are a lot of ways that you can participate today. I encourage you to peruse the cultural items in the silent auction on the event website at fundraiser.support/GE Just click auction, you'll see all of them there. Our staff have brought back some amazing authentic items from project visits, and I hope you'll enjoy bidding on them. If you're in the state of Oregon, you can also buy raffle tickets for your chance to win one of 3 prizes, with the first prize being a $300 gift certificate to Andina Restaurant.
Favorite
So good. Paired with a beautiful set of green placemats that are brought back from Peru. Raffle tickets are just $25, or you can get 5 for $100. You can also make a gift at any time tonight through the event website or year-round by visiting greenempowerment.org/donate. This is my first spring benefit since joining the team last summer, and it has been such an exciting time to be part of Green Empowerment's leadership team. It has been a privilege to work alongside this amazing team and to meet some of our dedicated supporters. A big part of my job has been getting to know the organization and to understand what Green Empowerment does differently and what makes our approach so successful long-term. Last fall, an anonymous donor created an opportunity for our international staff, who could get visas, to attend a staff retreat here in Oregon. And it was honestly so powerful to meet our incredible staff in person. We were able to arrange some interviews while they were here with our staff and our board, and it was really beautiful to hear so much alignment on a shared vision for Green Empowerment's approach, especially related to our partnership model, the way that we engage with communities, and serving remote communities that other organizations and governments are not reaching. I hope you'll enjoy watching this video that talks a little bit more about what makes Green Empowerment so special.
When we say remote or rural community, we really mean it.
We focus on last mile communities that no one else is tackling. So this is a group of communities or group of people that have a serious issue, and not a whole lot of organizations, even governmental organizations, are not paying attention to.
And the race is on to provide them with water and energy. Our model is to try to help them do that. What differentiates us is that we're not trying to provide them the power without giving them the know-how to be able to maintain, operate, and run those systems themselves.
The partnership model is fairly unique to Green Empowerment, the way that we almost exclusively work with other organizations as that sort of collaborative effort to try and meet their needs and then meet the needs of the people that they're serving from the bottom up.
Our model is related to collaboration. We understand the partner as an equal. We, as a peer, recommend or suggest and share knowledge.
We don't try and do it on our own. We really try and always bring the focus back to our partners and the communities themselves, because at the end of the day, these projects just don't get off the ground without the communities themselves doing most of the work and the partners that we work with doing a large share of the work as well.
Desarrollamos esas estructuras comunitarias en donde podemos ver ese cambio radical, como las comunidades están administrando el proyecto, administran también a largo plazo.
Because it's really about helping the community have agency over those resources and do that community organizing piece that sustains that impact over time. And one story that comes to mind for me is there's a community water system, we call them micro-utilities, in Ecuador. This micro-utility, the community, much like all of them, they set terrace structures and they develop their own operations and maintenance plan. They use those funds to pay a local technician to maintain the system. And there's this woman, Elena, in Rio Cayapas in Ecuador, and her picture, we've used it in some of our materials, but it just really shows it's a working mom in her own community managing a water system.
And I think most important is that the way that we do things are designed for them to last.
I think the model is scalable because we're looking at building the capabilities and skills of local partners and local institutions.
That you would have a program or a project that you would build and it would still be operating 20 years later, it's almost unheard of.
We are creating a financially sustainable system that's really kind of in harmony with nature.
To work for social justice and environmental justice is very important to me.
I care about rural communities. They're some of the most generous, most resourceful, most amazing and talented people you come across. And I love green empowerment for honoring that, you know?
Wow, it's so amazing for me to hear those core values expressed so beautifully by our staff.
I agree. It's just so touching for me to hear how passionate our staff are about this work and all the different reasons they're motivated to work empowering these communities.
Oh, you included.
Yes, yes.
So thank you so much. For those who don't know, Raven was behind the scenes on that video, making sure that we got good content. We're so glad that you're on the team. And for folks watching, don't be surprised if Raven reaches out. She's a great resource for learning how best you can support green empowerment.
Definitely. Also, don't be surprised if you see me or my husband Patrick bidding against you in the silent auction, because I definitely have my eye on a few items. And
careful with that red blanket.
I know.
Thank you so much, Raven, for being with me today, for all you're doing.
Of course.
With Raven and our new regional program directors, we have a real opportunity to explore new pathways to reach even more people. I'm so excited to be leading our effort to scale Green Empowerment's work. And we're already in a very exciting period of growth. In the next 3 years as I mentioned earlier, we plan to reach an additional 200,000 people with clean water and renewable energy projects. This alone is ambitious. At the same time, we know on a global scale, there's so much more to be done. So while we're growing our programs, we're also exploring ways to scale our work. To us, this means testing out ways to tweak or evolve our approach so that with the same amount or only a little bit more investment from Green Empowerment, we can reach far more people. We already have some exciting hypotheses about how we will do this. As you heard from Katya earlier, we're planning to test a Train the Trainer program in Peru. This really leverages the local expertise that we've helped build with our partners in order to do more projects and reach more communities. This is a great example of how we're innovating to tweak our approach while staying true to our core values of partnership and community engagement. There's another example that I want to share with you that is already well underway. Green Empowerment has been working with partners in Malaysia on the island of Borneo for the last 20 plus years. Our work there has been focused on developing mini grids, primarily micro hydro, but some of them are solar powered, to bring renewable clean energy to remote indigenous communities. And also we've been supporting these same communities to organize and have information as they fight for sovereignty over their land and resources. That work has now evolved into an exciting coalition called the Sabah Renewable Energy Roadmap. We came together with 3 of our longtime partners in Malaysia to form this consortium. The roadmap is taking a really big picture view of the energy needs in Malaysia, specifically in the state of Sabah, but we're doing it differently. We're doing it from the ground up. The project aims to electrify all of rural Sabah. That is 400 villages that currently do not have electricity. This represents 72% of rural Malaysians that are living without electricity. So most of the people in Malaysia that do not have electricity are rural communities in the state of Sabah. As you'll hear from Gabe Wynn, our energy access lead, he's going to share in our next video about the consortium, how much they've already accomplished, and how we've set this ambitious goal for the next 10 years. Enjoy.
Green Empowerment has been working with partners in Malaysia for 20 years. We've been helping remote indigenous communities and indigenous community partners build microgrids, microutilities that bring energy to their homes, schools, community centers, and businesses. In the last 20 years, Green Empowerment has worked with partners to establish 31 mini grids in Malaysia. Now, the Sabah Roadmap has a 10-year plan to electrify 203 villages in rural Sabah. So Malaysia's 2 eastern states of Sabah and Sarawak are located on the island of Borneo. Sabah is a lot of forests, but it also has very diverse ecosystems. The Sabah Renewable Energy Roadmap, which is very much about engaging with the government and trying to come to a solution together for the rural electrification challenge. I would say the goal of the roadmap is to chart a course, right? Literally a map of how we get from the current state to a place where all those villages do have energy access, and that energy access is coming from renewable sources. Biggest body of work that we were able to complete as part of the Sabah roadmap was the literal mapping and data collection of the 400 villages in which constitute the villages that currently don't have energy access.
Most of the community that we visited geographically isolated and doesn't have a proper road access because most of them are still in a very rural region of Sabah. Well, I think access to energy is important to this community because it will open many opportunities for the communities once they have electricity access. So, for example, their livelihood will likely increase and their socioeconomy also increase because they can now have more time to do work during night and also can use more productive electrical appliances such as freezer for food storage or oven for baking. I think it will have a positive environmental effect because while providing this electricity access to the community, we are also advocating of like watershed area and also forest protection. So the community will have more awareness on the environment and they will be empowered to protect their own environment.
If you look at the actual map of the Sabah roadmap, you can actually see the roads that are in Sabah and the scale of the rural electrification grid, as well as where all the villages are and what types of resources that we've identified nearby that could be used for rural electrification. This is a very high resolution map, and I think that on its own is very useful for guiding decision makers in determining where to invest resources. We've kind of gone the extra mile with the original intended scope of roadmap project and have gone as far as to develop a kind of business plan or a program rollout plan for the state. What our organization, and I think the other organizations in the consortium, haven't been able to do in the past has been to really come up with a solution that addresses the challenge of rural electrification at scale. You've got actual local organizations that are dictating the path forward for rural electrification, right? We, Green Empowerment, are helping provide the tools and the data and bringing in our experience. But the course is very much dictated by and the ambition is dictated by the local organizations and the Sabah government and the communities themselves.
I love this example of scale because we are working together to influence the ecosystem in which we're operating so that we can accelerate this very important work. To me, the Sabah roadmap is a perfect example of collective empowerment. Through coming together and each lending our strengths, these 4 organizations are taking on a much bigger scope of work than any one of us could do alone. The roadmap is also allowing true local grassroots participation so that everybody, organizations, community leaders, they have a voice and they're influencing things on a political level. One exciting thing we've been talking about is the replicability of this project. Many of the tools and resources that we've created, like tools for like the tools for analyzing energy needs from the community's perspective and projecting system size now and into the future, these are transferable and they can be used by our partners around the globe and ideally replicated by other organizations as well. We are so grateful to our global community that has supported us in getting to this point. And I hope today's program helps you see the need that still exists around the world and how we, Green Empowerment, is prepared to meet it. Our board of directors has been so incredible in supporting us with this vision, strategy, and planning. They really believe that Green Empowerment is well positioned to do this work. And they have personally pooled together their donations to match any donations that receive today, up to $40,000. Thank you so much to all of the board members who contributed. I hope that you will consider making a gift today to join us in this next phase. Raven, maybe you could come back up here and help folks know how they could do that. Great question. So several options for giving at today's event. Obviously, you can make a donation through the event website, as we've already highlighted. You can also text donate $123 to the phone number 503-400-7797 to make a $123 donation, or whatever amount is comfortable and meaningful for you. Like I mentioned, you can always log into greenempowerment.org/donate, so you can make a donation online with a card, or if you prefer a check, feel free to mail that to our PO box. Let me know if you need the address, but it's on our website. And also, there are some really creative ways that you can support this critical work, like through stocks, required minimum distributions, or even by joining the Royce Legacy Circle by including Green Empowerment in your estate plans. So just reach out if you want to chat about some of those creative options. Also, don't forget that the silent auction is open through tomorrow at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So keep an eye on your bids, or I might outbid you. There are items from all 3 regions of the world where we work, including Ugandan coffee and traditional kitenge fabric, Peruvian table runners and placemats. Also, the softest, beautiful alpaca wool blankets. They're washable.
They're very washable and they're so amazing. And there are also some really great woven banana leaf and tika grass items from the Philippines. So thank you so much to our staff who have picked those out and brought them back just so you can check them out. But those are some really great options for you to participate. Let us know if you need any help, and we're happy to help.
All right, well, that's it. That's our program. Thank you everyone for coming and being a part of our global community. We couldn't do it without you.
Thank you.